Hi, I thought I'd do a bit of an impromptu live. I was going to do a video about this, but I thought it might be a good thing to go live with if anybody wants to drop in and chat about it. And what I was going to talk about was getting consistent sales in eBay, which is something I think everybody would like to get. One thing I notice with eBay, and anyone will tell you on eBay, is your sales go up and your sales go down, and your sales go up and your sales go. Oh, hi Shazad, good to see you. Hi Damien. Yeah, I'm talking about consistent sales and how to get them. Obviously, Shazad, I know you're big time, but you might get something out of this. I don't know. So, I always notice that when I listed normally, if you want to drop in the chat, Damien, let me know. That my sales would go up, the sales would go down, the sales would go up, the sales would go down. And obviously that is due to your boom and bust of listing. And when I first started eBay, I always like an analogy, and it was like, okay, well, how can I create more sales? And the simple analogy, me and Liz had was you got to get more things listed. And because it was like fishing, the more rods you have in the lake, the more likely you are to get a bite or to get a sale. And I think it's probably a bit more. It's not just a case of how much stuff you got, and obviously you can't just list any old rubbish in there, but activity is so important. Daily activity is so important. And I know that a lot of people try. That's all right, no worries. A lot of people will say, as a lot of close sellers on Insta, they'll do their grids. All these things are great, and they're going to say, "I'm going to do 10 a day. I'm going to list 10 a day, or 15, or whatever it is." And I've done that. I've drawn up a grid, dates, and gone, done my little check marks. Now the trouble with me is, I don't keep this going. I can go to a boot fair and it can totally throw me out for the day, and I can do like 10, 10, 10, 10, and then not do anything for a long time. And what I have been doing recently is putting everything, when I have a burst of listing, I put them to draft. So they're getting chucked in draft. Okay. So I've built up probably about 60 drafts, 60 or 70 drafts. And then, hi RJ, how you doing? Talk about trying to get consistent sales. Now, my sales at the moment are going down, but they are consistent. They're consistently low, but they're consistent. So everything is going into drafts, and I've built up like a store of drafts. Now, I've got another kind of analogy for this. Okay, so what I'm doing, I've put some work in, done some work, and I've got my 50 drafts. I've had a real time of getting in the groove and building up this bank of drafts. And I've gone in this morning and I've taken 5 out and I've put it live. And that is kind of like, that could be 10, that could be 15, whatever number you want. And that feels great to say, okay, well, I've got the things live. And for some reason, it seems easier to then carry on listing and putting them in the bank, putting them in my drafts. I found this, I don't know whether it's a state of mind thing. I used to do scheduling, like listing, and I would schedule, you can schedule 21 days in advance. And if I had a batch of listing, I would put one in for the next day, one in for the one following, one in for the one following. I don't know whether it was a psychological thing. It just seemed easier to put them in different days because it was going 1, 1, 1, 1. And I think as well is you can, of course, if you've got 50 things and you've listed them all in one go and they've gone live, that is great. But that kind of hit is over quite quickly. So if like yesterday I'd done 50 things and they'd gone live, great, but today I'm back at zero. And the whole point of building this sort of bank of listings and pulling them down is that you feel good for the current day you're on, and it clears you. I'm now like, okay, I've plucked my 5 out, I've done my bare minimum. I can carry on focusing on work. Now, in terms of numbers, of course, 5 is a minimum. As he was on my chat, and he was sort of say, I always see 5 as a minimum, and I do too. And I'm trying to kind of get what sort of numbers I want in my drafts. How many drafts do I want before I increase it? And I think about 30 times. So I haven't got there yet, but I've got 60 things in my listing. There's no point me making 20 a day live, because in 3 days I'll be like scraping the barrel again. I think if I've got anything more than 150, I would start listing, plucking out 6. If it was more than 180 in drafts, I will pluck out 7. So that kind of 30 times the number that I list per day. I think you can have drafts for 30 days, so it kind of makes sense to have that sort of number. So if you're working away and you've managed to create like 900 drafts, make 30 live a day. Now, why do I do this? I'm kind of doing this for a couple of reasons. One, to keep the activity in the store going. And over the summer, this is the most difficult period for sales, obviously, because I'm a car boot, and that's where I get my stock. I know, so I'm sourcing at Jumbles at the moment, but I know the sourcing period that is difficult, really difficult, is October, November, December. The car boots are finished. So come the end of kind of this year, it was early September. It has been November in the past. I research them. I'd research price every 3 months, or I review price every 3 months. I'll come on to that in a minute. What was I talking? I'm so bad at losing my train of thought. Yes, it's about making sure you have that storing your nuts for the winter. So if I get to October and suddenly my sourcing is like gone, if I've managed to build up my stock of 300 items, there's a certain, they say never give up your job unless you've got 3 months worth of salary in the bank. It's a similar sort of thing. Don't go into a fallow period if you haven't got nothing to pull on, over that period. Now, in terms of researching my listing, the way I do my store, I've got 500 item store. Hi, Kirsten, how you doing? I'm trying to get over a brainwave about getting consistent sales on eBay. My store works that I will put items on after the 1 full month of being there, at least 1 full month. So it could be from anything from a month up to like 7 weeks. They will then go into a 10% sale on month 2, 20% sale on month 3, and then after month 3, they will be ended. The price will be reviewed, normally reduced by 10%, unless it's a rare item, unless it's a long tail item. Be reduced by 10%, and then it'll be made live again, and it will go through that period again. So like a typical item, might start off at 50 quid, be there for like a full month at least, then it will go to 45, then it will go to 40, then it will be taken off, it'll be put back on, but the start price will be 45, go through that full month again, then it'll be £41.50, and then it'll be like whatever 20% off that is, like probably 36 or something. So it will go through that. Of course, that's a general rule. I'd review it for that, for specific items. I mean, a lot of my things are secondhand as well. So in terms of, yes, putting things to draft, this is my thing that I'm doing. I'm finding it really, really good. Chucking everything in the drafts, and then I'm plucking currently, because I've got 60 listings, I'm plucking 5 a day and making them live. What I've noticed is I have got the consistency, but I think it also makes a difference, the value of the item, and obviously the demand for the item as well. So this whole thing about activity. So I've got another analogy for you. I came up with this one as well. So as well as like fishing rods in a lake, okay, if you imagine your store as a trampoline or a drum or something like that, okay, and you've got like marbles on it, and all these marbles are your items. Okay, if you're listing something, you're dropping a marble on that drum, okay, and for a little while, all the other items bounce up and down, and create the activity that might bring them to the attention of sellers. That's how I imagine it in my head. So I've got my marble. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 every day. I could get 20 marbles in one day, and they'd be quite a bit bouncing up and down, but it'd be over quite quickly. Okay, so what also is important, I think, is the price of the item. For the last 2 weeks, I had I got a haul of programs, theatre programs. They all got listed at between £5 and £8. They all got put in draft, and every day I was just plucking these low value items. So pretty much every day I was just doing £30 worth of listing. They were 5 listings, but they were low value. And my sales lately have been consistent but low. Now I've just started making some clothes live, so I've got stuff like this, and those are slightly higher value, between like £15-30, something like that. Agitation, yeah, shaky uppy factor is what I call it, agitation. Now what I'm going to do in a few days is see what drafts I've got, and I'm going to concentrate on the highest value items. So it'll be very interesting to see, what it does. I'm imagining instead of little marbles, I'm going to be taking 5 bowling balls to my, drum or trampoline full of all my other little marbles. I'm going to drop them down, and all these things are going to go like that. Other things will come into it, but how much in demand the item is. So if you've got a really nice looking small marble, it might be small value, but it might be kind of like, do you get what I'm saying? I do love it. I love a good analogy. So I just thought I'd kind of like share my thoughts on that. Have I considered buying on eBay to sell on? I have looked. I have tried to do the local checks. I haven't had much success with it. I do have trouble with things I'm not that good at, and I'm not good at things like RA or OA, and Amazon as a whole. You hear about a lot of people saying, "Oh yeah, Amazon's really, really, really great," and it is, but I've never kind of really got it. I am very much focused on kind of secondhand, boot fair stuff and selling on. So yeah, and of course I should do more of it, and I will do more of it this year. I'm definitely sort of looking into new avenues of trying to make sure I earn a bit more money selling online. But one thing I am into at the moment is definitely doing those drafts, and it is such a good thing mentally to sort of like be able to wake up in the morning and get certain things out of the way. I had a whole mantra on this channel about, try every day at least to list 5, try and tidy up, and try and pack your outstanding. And if you can do those simple things, you could get that done by 10, 11. You get it done very early in the morning, and then you can just focus on anything else. Now I'm waking up in the morning, I'm going to my kind of bank of drafts, and the whole listing thing is just like, I'll just pluck those out, and that's my job done. And now what I'm focusing on is I've taken 5 out of my draft bank, and I am listing, but they're all going into drafts. So I might do 20 drafts today, and it seems easier to do that work, because it's not like I've done a big load, and it's not like I've listed 50 things and it's the next day, oh god, I've got to do another 50. It's like they're going in the bank, they're going in the reservoir. So there you go. That's my whole thoughts on it. It's a very quick video. I don't want to keep you all from working, but I thought I'd share that because I was thinking about making like a proper video with titles or whatever. But well, Leanne, I think the limits on drafts is due to your shop size, or if you have a shop. If you can only have 20 drafts, I've got a medium-sized shop, so I did test out how many drafts you had by just copying and pasting the drafts, but I got hundreds. I think I got over 1,000. So what I would suggest is definitely maximize your drafts, and then once you've done that, if you are on the lower shop, if you can schedule your listings, use that. But if you can't schedule, just use the 20. I mean, 20 is quite a good number. You know, if I don't know how many you're listing, but you know, if you you have the middle size, which you should be able to do definitely more than 20. I've got up to like about 1,000. So yeah, maybe you do need to call eBay on that. Damien, you've got no jumbles near you. Got a 2-day tabletop sale the week after. Yeah, I've got a few jumbles I'm going to, and I'm going through a lot of. I've got in a complete mess with a lot of my jumble sale haul. I bought it all in the house, which I shouldn't have done. I should have kept it out in the garage and only bought it in when I was listing it. But I bought it all in, so I could show off on YouTube. Terrible, really, but you know, you feel like you have to do it. Anyway, I hope that was useful. I hope that was useful to Shazad as well. I know he's completely different kind of business model or whatever, but this whole thing of another analogy for any electricians out there, I'll look at it like a capacitor, if you know what a capacitor is. What that does is, if you have an electrical circuit, this is getting a bit technical, but the input coming in varies, and the capacitor will take all that and then just slowly drip out a constant amount. So it's kind of like that. Or what else can I say? You know, it's like if you were doing shopping, if you were making a meal, you wouldn't go to the shop for every meal. You wouldn't wake up in the morning and go, I've got to go to shop and get some bread and get some marmalade or get some Weetabix, and then come home, and then, you know, at lunchtime you go, I want to make a bowl of soup. I'm going to go to the shop and get that. What you do is you get a whole load of shopping in, a whole load, and that would last you like a week or two or whatever. So this is exactly the same with drafting listings. Do a whole load, get your food in the larder, and then every day just go to the larder and pick out your 5. You know, I'm analogy central at the moment, but I hope that's useful. Do try it. If you do try it, I think you'll find. I can only speak for myself, but I found, you know, waking up in the morning and putting the 5 on, or if you've been busy for the day and you got to the end of the day and you go, I haven't done any listing, you know, go in there and pluck out 5 listings. Got Peter joining us. Yeah, it was an unexpected live. I was thinking I might do an actual professional type video. But I think my lives are probably just the same as the ones I filmed, so I thought I'd go live. Schuster, how you doing? I was going to get off now, so it's. I think it's quite a good video to watch back. So maybe at double speed, get it over with. But if anybody does want to pop in for a chat and just say what they're up to today, I'll put the link in. I probably won't stay around too long because, like I say, I have got a load of work. Be interesting to hear what are people's sales like at the moment. Mine are. I had £100 day yesterday, which was very, very welcome. But before that, it had been very, you know, I'd gone from like 3,000 turnover in a month, and it's just gone below 2,000. Like, you know, it's like, so I want to get above that 2,000 at least. I don't want to drop below that. So there you go. Well, it doesn't look like anyone wants to drop in, which is fair enough because everyone's really busy working. So what I'll do is I'll end the stream there. I'll definitely. It shows 20 on the phone. Yeah, I work on the desktop. I never work off a phone. So Leanne, maybe have a look on your desktop app. There's a simple way to check it. If you go into your drafts on the desktop app and you're wondering how many you can have, just select them all and choose copy draft, and you'll go from 20 to 30 to, and that's what I did, and I got like hundreds, and I thought, oh well, this is all right. I can have close to 1,000. My aim probably is to get near 300 drafts, because to me that's like 10 a day for 30 days. I'll be amazed if I can get more than that. Oh, one thing, another reason I'm doing this is I looked at my PayPal transactions for last year, just to try and get a handle on how much stuff I'm selling. Because over Christmas it's like absolutely crazy, but you kind of like, how much am I selling? And I had it was 1,000 and something transactions, and it worked out at about between 3 and 4. I think it was just under 4. So I was kind of thinking, okay, well, look, if I do 5 a day, and I've just remembered something else actually. If I do 5 a day, that should increase my store. Like in 3 months, I should have 100 more items, because I'm getting like over 1 extra item a day. The other reason I'm kind of craving this consistency of plucking out 5 and putting them on live every single day, is you can't really, what am I saying? You'll be able to check out other things if something is consistent. So if you're all over the place with what you're listing on your shop every day, and your sales are up and down, you're wondering why your sales are up and down. Well, it's because how much you're listing is going all over the place. Now, like I say, I have been listing 5 a day regularly, and I'm now going to increase the value of what I'm listing. So it's kind of quite scientific, but I'll be able to see whether that does have an impact. So there you go. That's my scientific experiments on eBay listing, and hopefully will lead to consistent sales. But yeah, well, if you do anything like that, I know a lot of people do try and just sort of say, I am going to list 5 a day rather than put them into drafts. But I'd definitely recommend giving it a go and seeing how you go with that. Seeing if it works for you. If it doesn't, let me know. Put some comments in the thing down there. Joan, yes, I'd recommend. I've actually think this might be one of my most useful videos. Not saying that the others are rubbish, but there you go. But saying that, I've been gabbing on for like nearly 25 minutes, so I'm going to let you go now. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you get some sales, but yeah, chuck everything in drafts and then let it drip down into your store. Take care. I'll see you soon.